The uncertainty surrounding the way at least 13 House and Senate districts were drawn after the 2020 census continues, even as there was another court hearing scheduled for this afternoon.
To try to put some clarity on this murky subject, political reporter Rick Albany here now to tell us what the courts have ruled is wrong with those districts, what's at stake, and what happens next.
Well, Sue and Brian, let's take those in order. First, what's wrong with the way those 13 districts are drawn? The panel of 3 judges concluded that the districts did not offer an opportunity for minority voters to have representation. By drawing districts that heavily divided those minority urban areas and combining them with more suburban districts, those minority voters and candidates were not afforded equal protections as provided under the law, according to the court. So what's at stake? First and foremost, the rights of voters in the Detroit area to have those equal protections. But it doesn't stop there. Since all districts have to be roughly the same size by population, redrawing the 7 House and 6 Senate seats and keeping exactly the same numbers and just rearranging the district lines and still produce an outcome that the courts will accept seems highly unlikely. In other words, it would take a miracle to keep other districts from being redrawn. How many? Well, in the last 2 weeks, I've seen all types of estimates, but I remain unconvinced that only the 13 challenged districts will have to be changed. So in addition to the voting rights of thousands of voters, the balance of power in the state legislature could be at stake. With Democrats holding a slim 2-vote lead in the Senate and all 6 of the Senate districts in question currently held by Democrats, a loss of 1 would mean a 19-19 tie in the upper chamber. The lieutenant governor, as president of the Senate, could break a tie, so if all Democrats stay on board, they could theoretically continue to move their agenda. If 2 seats flip, Lansing could grind to a halt. Same in the House. All 7 seats being challenged are held by Democrats. If upcoming special elections return a majority for Democrats, as expected, only 1 loss would bring gridlock to the House. It really does matter. What happens next? Redistricting commissioners voted yesterday to appeal the judge's ruling, and today asked that same panel of judges to put a stay or hold on the ruling until they can appeal. A plaintiff in the lawsuit and former Democratic State Representative Sherry Gay Dagnogo said in a release, speaking of the commission and the appeal, quote, "The people in the city of Detroit and Michigan should be appalled that they," meaning the commission, "have already wasted $5 million of taxpayer money, and at the cost of a Supreme Court appeal could easily double that amount." When I asked a spokesperson for the redistricting committee about costs associated with the appeal, Edward Wood sent this reply, quote, "Our attorneys bill by the hour and invoice monthly, so I will not know how many hours that decision will cost the commission until mid-February. According to Michigan's Constitution, quoting here, the legislature shall provide adequate funding to allow the commission to defend any action regarding an adopted plan, map. Consequently, and if necessary, this remains an option available to the commission." That word "shall" in the constitutional amendment leaves the legislature very little wiggle room. So now we wait for the courts to decide the next move, but with a presidential primary in a month and a half, deadlines for filing for the 2024 state primary roughly 60 days later, there's an urgency to get this matter resolved, and if new districts have to be drawn, get that done too. As I pointed out earlier, it's not guaranteed, but seems likely that more than just those 13 districts will be impacted, and that could mean a lot of political calculating for sitting members and would-be candidates as well. Sue?